Um, in those week parashiyot that we read in Shabbat, um, the the beginning part of Sefer Shmot deals with Yetziat Mitzrayim, with Shiabud Mitzrayim, when we were in Egypt as slaves, and Hashem redeems us and took us out of Egypt. So there is something that I thought it would be important to discuss, and it's very practical to us. It's a very deep idea, but there is an implication for practical also, and this is the power of speech and how it's connected to the entire story of the Yetziat Mitzrayim. We'll see.
Yetziat Mitzrayim, it is all words in English, please.
Yeah, the redemption from Mitzrayim, that we were slaves in Mitzrayim and Hashem took us out, and all of this connected to the power of speech in a way. Last week Parsha, in Parashat Shmot, when Hashem appointed Moshe Rabbeinu and he told him by the burning bush, listen, I saw the Jewish nation in Egypt, they're suffering, I want to redeem them, you are the person. You will be my man, my messenger to Paro to take them out of Mitzrayim. So I don't know if you remember, but Moshe Rabbeinu was in a way surprised and actually not too excited to do the job. He says to Hashem, who am I that will do this? And one of the things that he mentioned, that he is not the personality to do it. Why? Because he has problems how to speak. He could not speak straight, you know. So he used this in a way as an excuse to get away from the job that Hashem gave him. And Hashem says, I know, I created you, and I'm the creator of everything, and I'm giving the power of speech to people. So if I'm sending you, that will not be the problem. If you have a problem to how to talk, I will fix it for you, right? So Hashem told them, listen, I'm gonna fix your ability to speak. So after Hashem promised this to him, it should be done. But we see that he mentioned that again later on in this week parasha, in Parashat Va'era, when he came to Paro. And before that, he talked to the Bnei Israel, and he told them that Hashem sent him to take them out of Egypt. So the Torah says in this week parasha, Parashat Va'era, that when he speaks to Bnei Israel, velo sham'u el Moshe, they didn't listen to him. They didn't accept what he said. Mikotzer ruach u'me'avodah kasha, because they were under stress, and they're not really be able to believe that it's their time to be redeemed. So Moshe Rabbeinu after that came to Hashem and he says, Hen bnei Israel lo shamu elai, ve'ech yishma'eni paro. If bnei Israel, those that I was sent to redeem them, they didn't listen to me, how Paro gonna listen to me? Va'ani aral sfatayim, and he mentioned again that he has difficulties how to speak straight. So here is a question. Hashem told him last week Parsha, when he was still out of Mitzrayim, when he was next to the burning bush, that he gonna fix his problem speaking. So why mention this again? So there is something very, very deep about this, and it's very practical to our life. Therefore, I want to discuss it, okay? First of all, we have to know that only human being could talk. Real talking. We could just say that animals also talk to each other, or birds could say something, but it's not speaking the way we do. What's the difference? What is speaking? Speaking is, in order to really talk, you need to be intelligent. You need to be with ability to think. Because words in a human talk are actually only the clothing of the thoughts. When I see something, I'll try to understand it. And when I'm understanding it, and I know what I think about it. The ability to talk is to take this thought, put it into words, communicate with other intelligence creatures that could also have the ability to think, and by the words, I'm making a connection between my thoughts to your thoughts. Now, only human being, in Hebrew, there is, in the Torah, in the deepest part of the Torah, in philosophy, in the Kabbalah, there is a way to divide all the elements that Hashem created in the world. I'll say it in Hebrew, I'll try to translate it to English, to four groups. In Hebrew it's called Domem, Tzomeach, Chai, Vemedaber. Domem are elements that are not, you could not see in your regular eye any movement in them. All those elements in the universe called domim, immanent elements. Then you have higher level called tzomeach. Tzomeach are plants that could grow. Plants. What's the difference between them and the other one and the non-moving elements? The power of life. You're not talking about a stone, a live stone or a dead stone, but you talk about a live flower or a dead flower, or a live tree and a dead tree. So the notion life and death relates to the plant, which is higher level. Then we have animals. Animals called in Hebrew Ba'alei Chaim. They have life, but their life expressed itself by the ability to move. Tree, live or dead, are in one place. They never move. But animals could move from place to place. Now when you go higher, you got to the human being, and how the human being is called. In a way, what's the difference between an animal to a human being? The ability to think. That would be the obvious thing, right? But yet we called him Medaber, a talking creature. So the talking creature, it seems like a technical thing. Just, he's also talking, but the essence of a human being the difference between people and animals, the ability to think. So here we see that the talking is not just that's insignificant things. It's very, very major. Now let's try to understand what talking is all about. What is the idea of dibur, of talking is? First of all, we have to know that talking and speech has a lot of power. A lot of power. The power of words is stronger than any other powers that we think. Let me explain why. Every human being has their personality. When you have your personality, you want to decide about yourself, what do you want, what do you do, right? So we could find out that people could force other people to do things against their will. But it's not easy. Usually no one wants to listen to anyone. Why will any person will do something that he doesn't want to do, but someone will force him to do? If the other person has, let's say, a weapon, or he's threatening, okay? So you do what I tell you to do, if not I'm going to kill you. So because of that, people will not give up their own will, but because they want to survive, they will do what other people who are stronger than them wants them to do, command them to do, right? But in these cases, as I said, you will never give up your own will, but you do the will of the other just because you are scared, you are afraid. But you still want to do your own will. So with a force of power like weapon or threatening, I could make other people do what I want, even if they do not want it. But the resistance inside and the hope of this person that one day he will be free and do whatever he wants will stay there. I could not kill this, right? And here's the difference between making people do what you want by force, then you could do it by very elegant, nice way, and you could do it right or wrong, like everything else, by talking. This is the power of talking. I could convince someone, even if in the beginning they do not agree with me whatsoever. But if we will talk, and I'm not talking about aggressive talk, nice talk, I could convince people to do something that they themselves will never think to do it, or even has resisted to do it. But when I talk to them and convince them, talk to their intelligence, I could make them do it. So I could do it in the right way, when I'm really giving them good ideas and convince them, or I could do it in the evil way, meaning that I want them to do something bad, something wrong, something not right, and I have the power of speech, a rhetorical way to convince people to do something not good. Now, what's the benefit of this over physical power? When you convince someone to do something, they have no resistance. They agree with you. I mean, in the beginning, it could be arguments, but after you convince them, they want to do it. And this is the power of speech. The power of speech that you could make people do something that they themselves will not think about or even has resistance to it without forcing them to do, but with words. And you could do it in the right way and the wrong way. Now, why Hashem created this ability in our essence as human beings? The positive way to use speech, to use ability to talk, is to unify people, to make them together. But there is a free will, and the free will has always the positive and the negative, and you could use talk, use speech, in order to divide between people, not to unify them. And this is the bad things about Lashon Hara, about gossip. That you say something bad about this person, and if you tell it to people that do not know this about them, even if it's true, actually I'm telling you only when it's true. No one's perfect, but you could talk about someone and say or emphasize the good attributes of them, or you could take someone and say, you know what, he is like this, she is like this. You're talking about the negative thing. So what you're going to cause, if you speak about their good attributes, people will want to be with them, to be close to them because they are good. If you emphasize the negative, people will run away from them. They will separate it from them. So the power of speech could unify people or divide people. Okay? Now we have to know this. You probably heard over here many classes about Lashon Hara, about gossip, about how bad it is, right? I want to just look at this now from a different angle. And again, the things that we're going to discuss now are very deep. Let me say the following. Moshe was sent to Paro. And Moshe has to talk to Paro about how to do a good thing. Because taking the brothers of Yosef, the tribes and their children, and make them slaves in Egypt, this is the most evil things. And the Egyptians should appreciate Yosef and what he did for the economy of Egypt, and therefore not make his brothers and their descendants miserable as slaves, tortured slaves in Egypt. That was wrong, that was evil. So Moshe Rabbeinu was sent in order to fix it, to convince the Egyptian to let the Jews go, free them from being slaves, right? This is the good thing. So Moshe Rabbeinu was here in charge to fix the evil. But who he has to talk to? To Paro. Paro is the king of Egypt. Paro was the dictator that made all these rules, right? So in Hebrew, if you take the words, the letters of the name of Paro, 4 letters, right? Paro. Pei, Reish, Ayin, Hey, right? You could find that this name of Paro, if you change the letters, you'll find that you could make out of it 2 words. Pe, that's the Pei, and the Hey at the end. Ra, bad, evil. Pe, Ra. So Paro is the evil of the power of speech. And let me just connect this to something that we learned last week, Parsha. I'll quote the Pasuk and the Midrash. How the Egyptian made the Jews slaves. So it says, ויעבידו מצרים את בני ישראל בפרך. ויעבידו מצרים, the Egyptian made the Jews, the Bnei Israel, and they made them working בפרך. What's perech? Perech in Hebrew, meaning they made them work so hard until they were broken. לפרוח משהו, פריחה, לפרוח, is to לפרק, to take apart. This is perech. So avodat perech, that when you work so hard until you feeling that you exploding, you get into parts. This is avodat perech, so hard. But the Midrash says, what's perech? Perech are 2 words also. Pe, rach. Rach is soft. Soft mouth. And here's the trick of the evil. The trick of the evil, they have an evil intention, but in order to get to people, they come to them and talk softly with a very negative, evil intention. So in the beginning they told them, listen, let's make you productive. It will be good for you, that the way you will express yourself. In the beginning it was very nice talk, but inside it was an evil. This is the Pera, this is Paro, that make them with a soft talk go to what he wants them to be, slaves or tortured slaves. So what we find over here is that we have a talk against talk, and that was the war. That the words of Moshe, that was the messenger of Hashem to redeem the Jewish nation, versus Paro, who wants them by talk to be in the evil side. So we find the war between the good and the evil through talking. And if we will want to go even deeper than that, we could see that if we go back in history, we will find that talk or negative talk was the cause of all evil in the world, and that was by the words of the Nachash to Chava, right? In the beginning, Hashem says or spoke to Adam, and he told him, you could eat from all the fruits in the Garden of Eden, but not from this one. So Hashem is talking, and he told him what's right, what's wrong, what to do, what's not to do. Then comes the snake, the Nachash, the evil, the Nachash, and said, Hashem said so, and I'm saying the opposite, and you should follow me. So we see that in the beginning of the history, it was a positive talk against negative talk. And what won? The negative. The negative. The negative won. Adam and Chava convinced by the words of the Nachash, and they did against what's right. And here started the history of evil in the universe. It got deeper and deeper in Egypt. Egypt in the Kabbalah in the Midrashim, Egypt was the most far away from truth place. In the Midrash, it's mentioned that there are 50 gates of tum'ah, of impurity, and all of them were in Egypt. Now, a little bit we have to understand what tum'ah is. Tum'ah is spiritual impurity. But the meaning of this in Hebrew, I'm sorry again, because you have to know Hebrew. The Torah, we are Jewish. The Torah was given in Hebrew, and Hebrew is a very, very sophisticated, deep language. And every letter has a lot of wisdom in it. So,
our grandchildren.
no, don't give up. Everyone could. Rabbi Akiva started at the age of 40 and he became great scholar. So everyone could. You just need to know, to want. You need to put it in your agenda. But anyways, I'll have, in order to teach Torah, I will have to use the Hebrew language in order to understand the deep notions. So, spiritual impurity in Hebrew called tum'ah. Tum'ah. The roots of the word tum'ah are 3 letters, which is tet, mem, and aleph. Tet, mem, and aleph. If you take those 3 letters and try to understand what tum'ah is, because what do you mean spiritual impurity? What is the meaning of this? It seems to us very far from our understanding. What tum'ah is. So, if you take those 3 letters and again change the order of them, you will get the word atam. Atam. Atam is to conceal, to sealed. Le'etom is to sealed, to take something and just close it in a way that nothing could go in, penetrate. That's called tum'ah. So, tum'ah is spiritual impurity, and we have to know the following. Each one of us is a combination, every human being is a combination of physical and spiritual, a body and a soul. And our ability to think and to talk the source of it is not the body. I mean, the body has the tools, but the ability to think is not in the body, it's not even in the brain. Animals also has brains. The brain is like a computer. A computer could be a very sophisticated one, but if no human being will sit next to it and work with it, the computer is completely dumb, completely stupid, cannot do anything. It's just a tool. Same way, the gray cells in the mind are a computer. Those cells are computer. It's dumb. But when the neshama is in the body, the neshama is the one who is playing with the computer or go through the computer to use it as a tool in order. So, but it's not that our brain is thinking. We're thinking through our brain. Okay? So who's thinking? The neshama, or the thing that above the physical. Now, spiritually impurity is not for the body. Is for the neshama that use the body. So of course, the impurity will be expressed itself in the body. But the tum'ah is not in the physical, but in the spiritual. Now, all the mitzvot in the Torah, especially food, we have to eat in order to survive, right? Animals also need to eat. But we as Jews, and even the Goyim, has something in some limits in what they should and should not eat. But for sure, us as Jews, the Torah says about the things that you're not allowed to eat. Why do you not allowed to eat them? let's say a pork or a horse, a lion, a cat, a dog. Why? So the Torah says, "Al titam'u bechol ele." Al teshakzu et nafshotechem. Don't, if you'll eat this, you'll make yourself tameh. Spiritually, the damage is not physical, it's spiritual. You have to understand this. Some people say, you know what, I'm not eating pork, I'm not eating pig. Why? Because it's not healthy. It's wrong to think so. That's not the reason. The proof, there are many people who eat pork and they are healthy like pigs until 120. Many, a lot. So that proves it's wrong. It's not because of physical reasons. It's for spiritual reasons. The proof, again, take a goat. We allowed to eat a goat? Yeah, in one condition. That it will be shechted, slaughtered in the right way. What? Take the same goat, the same knife, but don't kill the animal from the throat, but from the back. You're not allowed to eat the meat of this goat the same way like you're not allowed to eat a pork. So what's the difference? It's not that this animal is not good. The meat of this animal is not good for your physical body. It's a spiritual thing. And the Torah says it's a tumah. Tumah meaning it makes you, again in Hebrew. In Hebrew. Do you know there is a curse? Not very vulgar curse, but it's not pleasant and it's not right to use it. Sometimes you talk to someone and you try to talk to them logically and they do not understand what you're talking about and they do not accept it. So you could, when being frustrated, you could say, what's going on? I'm explaining to you. You do not get it? Are you metumtam? Metumtam is dam or dummy. But in Hebrew, metumtam, it's come from the same shoresh. Tetmem is like something hidden. Like when I want to hide something, I need matminoto, tomenoto. I put it in the ground and cover it. Metumtam is someone that you're talking to him, but there is a blockage that block his mind. And there is no reason that you will not accept what I'm saying. Why do you not get it? There is something that block you. You are metumtam. Metumtam is blockage. Okay? So the same way about tum'ah. No, that's a little tough. Satum זה עם תף. זה עם tet. Okay. So, tum'ah is the same thing. Tum'ah is something could be very smart, very intelligent, but it could not accept a word of Torah or a word of Kedusha or a word of truth because his heart is it says there is something called timtum halev. When the heart is covered with what? It's not physical. It's not the physical heart. The heart is our motivation to do things. So when it's covered by, it says in Chazal, avera metamtemet libo shel adam. When someone do avera, sin again and again and again, he become atum. He become concealed. You could not speak to them because they are spiritually impure. So words of truth could not penetrate them and talk to them. Okay? So this is the tumah. Mitzrayim, Egypt were the most tumah place in the world. All 50 levels of tumah, which is concealment, above concealment, 50 layers of concealment were in Egypt. And Paro was the king of Egypt, meaning he was the leader of all of this tumah. And now Moshe Rabbeinu was sent to him, go talk to him, that he will send the Jews out of Egypt. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, he will not listen to me. He will not listen to me. My words could not penetrate him. So when he used the word, Ani aral sfatayim, Orla, again, in a way, Orla is a concealment also. is something that black. Aral sfatayim meaning my words are not going smoothly from my mouth. How do you say legamgem? How do you say legamgem in English?
Stutter.
The stutter, okay? So it was stutter, meaning there is a blockage that not let the words go smoothly. Now, what caused him to be? What was the cause of this blockage? Because you have to remember, Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, "Lo ish dvarim anochi." I'm not a person of words, right? In the beginning, in the burning bush, the same Moshe Rabbeinu, the same Moshe, 40 years after, wrote an entire book called Sefer Dvarim. Ele advarim asher diber Moshe. Those are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu said. So what happened? In the beginning, he was lo ish dvarim anochi. I could not talk. I'm not a person of words. And then he became and saying a lot of words, a whole book, Sefer Dvarim. So Chazal explained that there is something very interesting or very essential over here. Before Hashem took the Jews out of Egypt, Moshe Rabbeinu could not talk. He was stutter. After Hashem took the Jews out of Egypt by Moshe, then he was opened and were able to talk. What is the secret? I mean, what's in here? I don't know how to say it in English. I mean, I'll try, but I don't think you're going to get it in the right way because again, it's the wisdom in the words in Hebrew. I'll try. You know, we are exile. The exile is also the exile of ability to talk, and we will try to maneuver with this. In Hebrew, there are two words, probably in English too, but there is something called amira and something called dibur. If anyone here is familiar with English the same way in Hebrew, maybe you could help me to translate it. Amira. I could say ani omer, I'm saying, or ani medaber, I'm speaking or talking. Okay? So there are two different words. Lomar, saying, veledaber, to speak or to talk. Okay? What's the difference between them? So it could be synonymous. Like in every language you have synonymous words. It's the same thing, you could say it this way or that way. We have to know that in the Torah, in the Tanakh, there is no such a thing like a synonymous words. Every word has a specific meaning. And there is a difference between amira and dibur. Let me give you an example. In Hebrew, I could say to someone, ani omer lecha. I'm saying to you. Ani omer lecha. But when I'm talking to someone, I'm saying, ani medaber itcha. I'm talking with you. So there's a difference between to you to a with you. Only when you speaking, meaning dibur, you could say with you. I could say, ani medaber itcha. Ani omer lecha. I could not say, ani omer itcha. I'm saying with you. It doesn't make any sense. I'm saying with you. I'm talking with you. Medaber is with you. Omer ze to you. What's the difference? The difference is the following. When I'm saying to you, it's coming from me to you. When I'm talking with you, there is an interaction between me and you. When I'm talking with you, after I say what I say, I expect your response, your reaction. What do you think about it? You could agree or not agree, but your opinion is valuable. Versus when I'm saying to you, I don't care. I'm talking. You have to accept it and do it. You're not an equal to me. You understand this? Yes. This is the difference between dibur and amira.
Amira is a command.
Right. Amira is from me to you. Dibur is with you. Now, in Hebrew, how do you say the Ten Commandments? Aseret
דיבור.
hadibrot. Hadibrot. It's dibur. Now, there is something again very, very deep. When Hashem created the world, on the sixth day of the creation, the Mishnah says in Masechet Avot, Ba'asara ma'amarot nivra ha'olam. Ba'asara ma'amarot. What's ma'amarot? It's referring to what the Torah says when Hashem created the world. Vayomer Elokim yehi or vayehi or. Vayomer Elokim yirakia betoch hamayim. It's all amira. It's all vayomer, vayomer, vayomer. Vayomer Elokim yikavu hamayim mitachat hashamayim. The water should go in one place and the dry land will be revealed. It all was by the word amira. Lomar. Not dibur. And if you count, there are 6 days of the creation and 10 times that Hashem says Vayomer. Vayomer yehi or. He said that will be light. He said that 10 times. Ba'asara ma'amarot. So you could find a very interesting thing. There are 2 tens over here. The 10 ma'amarot, when Hashem created the world, and the 10 dibrot, aseret hadibrot. There is a parable. There are this versus those. Okay? So there are ma'amarot and there are dibrot. What's the difference? Be aware again to the definition that we said before. I could say I'm talking or I'm saying to you. I could not say I'm saying with you. It's not right. But when we speak, we say Ani medaber itcha. I'm talking with you. I'm talking with you. To talk to someone, you need, in the other end, someone who could understand you and could relate to what you say. Right? When Hashem created the world, there is no intelligent creature to understand what he's saying. So there is no way to talk with, only to tell to, right? That's why in the beginning, when Hashem was making order in the universe that he created, he has to say things, not lo ledaber ela lomar, to say to them, Yehika, be this, be this, be this. But there's no intelligent creature to understand, to be equal to react to this. Aseret HaDibrot was given to who? To people. To people. To human beings that could listen and could react. And before Hashem talked to them, he sent Moshe Rabbeinu and he asked them, do you want to accept my words? And they said, Na'aseh v'nishma. Yes, we're going to accept this. So only when you have someone that could accept or not accept, then you could say dibrot. Therefore, there is Aseret HaDibrot. Okay. Now, let's go back to what we discussed in the beginning. When Moshe Rabbeinu was sent to Paro by Hashem, Hashem told him, go talk to Paro. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, there's no one to talk to. He will never listen. He's so conceited, he's so in tum'ah, that my words will not penetrate him. And then when he came to Egypt and he spoke to the Jewish nation, they were so under stress. Velo shamu el Moshe. So Moshe Rabbeinu turned again to Hashem and he said, if Bnei Israel lo shamu elai, ech yishma'eni Paro, how Paro going to listen to me? And Hashem told him, don't worry, we will. In the beginning, he will not listen to you, but then he will. Then he will. He refused to listen. He got all 10 plagues until he was willing to do it, sending the Jews out. But what happened? We find also again the number 10. Remember, we have the 10 amirot in the beginning. We have the 10 dibrot in Ma'amad Har Sinai, but in between was the 10 plagues in Egypt. Aseret HaMakot. What was the Makot, the 10 plagues? The makot was to break the peel, to break the peels of Tuma of Mitzrayim. So you have to break another one and another one, 10 of them, in order to release, to penetrate. So, but the purpose was not to reach Paro. Paro was not listening even after. He has to, by force, he sent the Jews out. What was the purpose of this? To take the Jews out of this concealment. Because and therefore the Chazal says that lo nitna Torah ela liyotzei Mitzrayim. The Torah were not given to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The Torah was given only to Bnei Israel after they went out of Egypt. Because in order to get the words of Torah, you have to get out of those concealments of Egypt. And that was the process. Okay. Now, what are the meaning of the word dibur? Dibur, as I said before, has a lot of power. The speech, I could make people who has a very strong mind do what I want if I convince them, talk to their intelligence, prove it to them, discuss it with them. They will ask you all the questions, the relevant questions. You answer the question. If they will be convinced, they will do whatever you want without shooting even one bullet. Right? This is the power of speech. Now, the right way, the positive way to use words is to direct people to do what's right. Because people do not know. So if you talk to them, give them information that they never knew before, and if you do it in the right way, with a good intention, not evil intention, you could make people come out of darkness to a light. From not knowing to know. And when you know something, you could not be indifferent to it. I mean, people do wrong stuff, wrong things, because they do not know. So the way to make them do the right thing is to just reveal to them by words, just talk to them, teach them what's right, what's wrong, and then you could bring them to change their way, to change their choices in life by talking. But people should be ready for this. If they have blockages, you could talk, no one listen. No one listen. Not because your words are not right, but because they are in a concealment, there are a lot of blockages that make them not to listen. And that was the situation of the Jews in Egypt. They were in Egypt in Galut. Galut is exile. Exile meaning they are not in their place. Not just physically, but spiritually. They were not in their place. They were in Egypt, in the Tum'ah of Egypt. And they went, and this impurity affected them. They went down, 49 out of the 50 levels of Tum'ah. The Jews in Egypt. And Hashem has to take them out of, bring them up, break all those blockages and take them out of Egypt. And that's what happened to us. Now, after Moshe Rabbeinu took them out of Egypt, he was able to bring them to Sinai, and Hashem will talk to them through Moshe, the 10 Commandments, which is the Aseret HaDibrot. Now there is someone who you could talk to. And later on he gave the entire Torah. Ele advarim asher diber Moshe. Moshe was released, because the word that Moshe Rabbeinu has to say, when the Jews were not ready, he could not say them. He could talk, but no one would listen. But when they went out of Egypt, they could hear. They could hear the truth and could accept it. Practically, after all this philosophical things, practically, we have to know that words has power. And you could use words like everything else you could use it in the right way or in the wrong way. People could use words in order to do evil, really evil. It starts from little gossips, but you could just say something about someone and you do not need to kill them. They got killed because of your words that you released against them. Even if it's true. So you could, by words, divide between people, but you could unify people. Now, the thing that we have to learn, and this is even a psychological tool, when someone wants to change, there are many things that we realize deep down in ourselves that are not that good. And we want to change. It's very hard to change. People are addicted and they actually captured and they are slaves by their habits. And it's really hard to change. Even if I need to change. Even very simple things, I have a habit to eat something. So just to get rid of habits to eat something, it's a struggle. It's not an easy thing. Of course, if I want to change any attribute to change attribute it's much harder. But we are here in this world in order to build or create ourselves, to build our personality. We have to be aware of our good attributes, and each one of us has a very special, exclusive attribute to each person. There's no one is perfect, but no one has no good thing in them. So the first way to work on ourselves is first, realize what's specially good about you. This is the first thing. In order to have confidence in yourself, don't think you're nothing. You are something. You have something that no one ever, since the beginning of the history to the end, have. You have this special gift. And sometimes it's easy to find it out, sometimes it's not, but there is something like good, specifically good about you. Realize this. After you realize this, you should strive to develop it, to make it even better and better. And it's easy because this is your earnings, right? This is your good thing that about you. So encourage it, develop it. This is the first thing. After you do that, you have to not be blind and remember that no one is perfect. And therefore, even if you have good stuff, you probably also had some not too good attributes. Usually it's not pleasant to realize them, so we're ignoring them. We're covering them for sure from the society around us. But the most terrible things that we cover them or deny them from ourselves. So I don't want to face it. This is wrong. You have to face it, not in order to go to a depression. Face your not perfect attributes, and you have to know that your job in life is to fix them. The same way you have to encourage and develop the good attributes, you have to realize that you're not perfect. Take those things that you're not too good in them and make a plan. It will not be overnight. It will be a process. It will be a hard work, but you should take care of this. Don't just ignore it. This is the thing. Because of this, we are here in this world. To make ourselves better. Now, it's hard. We have to say it very clearly. It's very hard. And people run away from this because people are lazy. I don't want to deal with this. There is no hope. That's all atzat yetzer. That's all the yetzer hara come to you. And, forget it. Not today, tomorrow. When you get married, when you get divorced, when you'll be old, when you go to pension, That's not right. You have to face it. You have to know it's hard. One of the tools to help you overcome your shortcoming is the talk, the words. Words could make miracles. Start to adopt positive talk. Let me give you an example. There are people who are so pessimistic and so negative that in every situation they will emphasize what's wrong. half the glass half full, half empty. There are people who always will look at the empty part of the glass. Let me give you an example. A group of people go to a trip somewhere. Let's say a big trip to Africa, to South America, somewhere, okay? They went as a group for 10 days. It was amazing trip. Amazing trip. They saw very beautiful sceneries and they have a good time. Then, when they come back, you interview them. So how was your trip? Same group, same people. Some will say, it was unbelievable. It was so good. And it was. But one of them, or two of them, or three of them, will depend, will say, yeah, but the food was not that great. Now, you have to know, okay, the food was not that great. But some people, when you ask them to summarize the trip, they will emphasize the good things. If you ask them about the food, they say, you know what, we ate better food in different places. But it's not important. But for other people, that was the thing that ruined the trip. They forgot that the trip was amazing and the food was not good. So what caused people, and again, everyone will agree, even if you ask the people who enjoy the trip, if you ask them about the food, if you will ask them, they will say, you know what, we ate better food different times. Fine. But they don't even think to mention this. The other people forget about the amazing trip. What was so not good is the food. What caused people to emphasize this or that? It's the same cup. Part of it is full, part of it is empty. It's the same cup. Some people will see the emptiness. Some people will see that it half full. This is not the objective truth. It's how I receive it, how I see it. Meaning, it's not there, it's here. It's inside me. If I'm empty inside, I will see the emptiness. If I'm rich, if I'm full inside, I will see the fullness. Meaning, it's in your personality. It's inside you. It's not, this is the way you feel. Why do you feel the way you feel? Because, so this is a very interesting tool to realize if you're healthy or not. Healthy psychologically. If you always have complaints about everything, complain here, you're not happy. First of all, it's not good for your health. You know, your life will be miserable. Your life will be miserable because you always emphasize on the wrong. But they are so good. Aside from this, look at this. Look what's good. Not emphasize what's wrong. So if you find in yourself that your tendency is to look what's not good, not about one thing, but in general, always you find what's not good, something not healthy inside you. You have to fix it. How do you fix it? Don't go to a psychologist. They will waste your time and you will waste your money. It's up to you, not up to them. It's up to you. When you want to change, no one could want it for you. You have to want it for yourself. But if you really want it, the way to do it is, first of all, emphasize on positive. Don't look at the negative. Even though when you see situation, you have a habit to see the negative, here you have to work on yourself. And only you could do it to yourself. Okay, I came to the place, the air conditioning was not right. It really bothered me, but I'm not saying a word. Not just to others. First of all, I'm not saying any criticism to others. But then you have to try to train yourself not to think about it. Think about the positive. Okay, the air conditioning was not in the right level. But the people are so good. We have such a good time together. Right? Emphasizing this. It's up to you. And the way to do it is through words. And this is the practical thing that I want to give you. Talk positive. Even if you have something not too good to say about someone, and you feel the urge because you're used to it, you're doing this all your life, stop doing it. Decide not to talk negative about people. Even if they are bad, evil, they're doing terrible things. Don't say it. If you do not have something good to say, say nothing. Say nothing. And say good things. Not flattering. Realize what good. There are real good stuff in people and situation. Emphasize on this and express it in your word. In your mouth. Say it. Don't just keep it to yourself. Say it. And this way you're going to teach yourself to be positive. Talk positive. This is the difference between the good mouth and the paro. Pera. Pera is to do evil, to do negative by words. Petov is Hashem that give us the directions and the Torah, what's right and what's wrong, and do divrei Torah, speak Torah. Torah are the words of God. This is the best things to say. So if you have nothing to say, say Torah. Just learn Torah for yourself, for others. Speak positive. Look about the goodness in people, and you could find in the beginning when you are a negative, very negative person, it's very hard to see any.
Thank you, God.
It's very hard to see positive. This is thing that you should train yourself. Look at the positive. Look at what's good. Express it to yourself and to others. And when you say good stuff in society, you have to know you're not going to change only yourself. You're going to change the society. You know, when people start in the beginning say, I'm not speaking Lashon Hara. So in the beginning, it's very annoying because people, you know, when people just meet together, what they have to talk about other people, right? So when a pious person that decided to be not talking Lashon Hara, so people around start to talk Lashon Hara, they say, no, I can't hear this, it's Lashon Hara. In the beginning, it's very annoying. I mean, who are you? You want to hurt yourself. Go away. What are you bothering me? Let me say what I say. But if you do it in the pleasant way, not in the way to preach, not in the way to look at people from up down, you are negative and I'm positive. That's not the intention. When you say it in very, tactful way, pleasant way, you start to create an atmosphere. And people around you, when they know that you're really serious about it because you want a good life quality, they will join you. You'll see them. You could change people. You could change what people around you talking. They know around you they're talking only positive. They're not talking negative. Any negative you do not want to hear. And again, be careful not to put people down. Don't say, I'm higher than you. Try to love people and make them be positive. You'll contribute to yourself, you'll contribute to the society, and B'ezrat Hashem we will have better quality life when we will be positive.
Excellent.
Yeah.